Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. I'm your host, 𝑤𝒉𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈. And we have a very, very special guest today, a good friend of mine, Cathy Caplener. So welcome, Cathy, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. What is that? Can you see that black spot there?
I can see the black spot. And I was going to apologize. I screwed up your last name. You're a friend of mine. I should know how to say Caplener.
Caplener. Carpenter. Caplener.
This is the beauty of the second I hit record, I get stupid.
Okay.
But Cathy is the founder of the 𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈 Public Relations PR, as well as Giving Purpose organization, which is the home of the You Are Enough campaign, which is a very, very important campaign that you have started.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Now, you have a huge background in public relations. Would you mind going into what your background is, and then what caused you to start this program of You Are Enough?
Sure. I've been in public relations for about 30 years or so, graduated in San Jose State, so I jumped right into high-tech PR. Just a kid. Steve Jobs was my first boss. And yes way.
I did not know that.
And, started that job where he would throw things at the PR people, and I just threw things back. I'm just like, hey, okay, we didn't get you the press you want. It was an interesting, I spent 10 years in the Valley, and I will say it was a good way to grow up, but it was very stressful. And one day, and I did everything. I launched big things like Java, HDMI, working with jobs on the first Mac, blah, blah, blah. And I still wasn't happy, traveling the world, limos, working with these amazing, amazing thought leaders. And I was not happy. And I called it a soul hole. And my soul hole was just like, there's got to be more than this. And I always say this, and it's embarrassing, but I thought about the why versus the what before good old, can't think of his name. All of a sudden I just spaced. Simon Sinek and his, the why, the circle, Apple's got the why and Microsoft's got the what, right? And I was not happy with the what. I go, there's just got to be more. I feel like I'm wasting my life. So I moved down to Los Angeles to work with a big agency called Burson Marsteller. At the time, it was the largest agency in the world. And my ex-boss had moved down as well. And she goes, okay, we'll let you do some sports and consumer PR, but we're going to keep you in tech because you know tech. And I'm like, okay. Needless to say, I did some fun things in consumer, but we landed big, gigs up north. So I was traveling every week up north. And again, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And so then I really said, okay, I'm going to make a shift here. And I thought I'm going to start my own gig. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I was running on the beach one day and I thought, okay, what's the name? And I go, 𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈, 3 words, right? Because B and cause alone on their own are so strong. And my whole mindset was, for cause and effect. We all are here for a purpose, for cause and effect. So that's hence where 𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈 came from. And a lot of people, especially the reporters, go, you mean because we should know? I'm like, well, yeah, you should know. But, think of the 2 words in PR. So I first client was Compaq. and
something small no one's heard of.
Still doing the what, right? And I was traveling to Houston every week from LA. I was in a brand new relationship, and a year after that, I'm like, I can't do this. Come on, Cathy, work with people who really are trying to make a difference. So what I ended up doing was finding people who were in the tech industry and had left, like big companies like AT&T and HP and IBM. And I worked with these thought leaders who are really trying to make a difference with applications like the first voice activated software product, basically it was Siri, and helped us, they basically would help you go through all your Microsoft applications and use voice recognition. It was fabulous. And that's what I loved. I love to take a concept and grow it via branding, PR, media relations, analyst relations. I did a lot of market influencer and analyst relations for companies. So I got to work with these great thought leaders who really felt and believed and knew that they could make a difference with their technologies. It could have been a coffee cup for all I cared. It was just like, when you raise your coffee cup, that was perfect timing.
You need to do that just because I get a dry throat.
That was really cool. And so 27 years later with 𝒂𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈, I still get gigs off and on, but I've kind of got burnt out on public relations alone because public relations has really changed. I've been looking for like full-time gigs, And the full-time gigs entail everything, where you are doing social media for a company, you're doing fundraising, you're doing marketing, you're doing media relations, you're doing analyst relations. It's crazy. And I don't think people really, a lot of people to understand the scope of work a PR person's supposed to do,
Yeah.
while pretty much being silent behind the scenes, right? So I made a shift when I was facing some mental health challenges and a divorce, and everything kind of comes at once in life, it seems like. And I thought,
Oh, yes.
how can I help people who are feeling the way I am, right? Feeling this isolation and totally alone in our minds, and like no one's going to understand why I'm feeling so low. They think I've got it made. They think I've got everything, you know. And I thought, on the way to the gym, and you and I were talking about exercise, ocean swimming saved my life, I tell you. Yeah. And I'm on the way to meet my friends at the gym with my wetsuit on in the car, and I go, a billboard. I saw a billboard on the way to the gym. I'm like, that's what I could do. I could put some words on a billboard to help people feel seen. And for 2 months, I talked to people and filmed them via my phone, saying, what would you put on a billboard? And this was when, before the 2020 election, Black Lives Matter, Me Too movement were all, you know, it was a crazy time when you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Before the pandemic, right? But this is one where the uniting in our country was kind of like frayed. And I finally had a friend of mine who I swim with. She goes, you know, Cathy, she starts to interview. It all comes down to the fact that we're all enough. I'm like, that's it. Because I was going to put you matter. And people said, no, you can't do that because of Black Lives Matter. I was going to put you're okay. And people were like, how do you know I'm okay? You know, and they were right. Yeah. And these interviews were fabulous. So I pitched with my PR hat. I pitched various folks to help me. And the Ellen Show bit and said, we'll help you get a billboard up in every state before the 2020 election. Go on the road, interview people. And I thought, how perfect, right? And can you imagine interviewing someone? What are the words "you are enough" mean to you in Alabama versus what are the words mean to you in Connecticut, right?
Perfect.
And I was super stoked, right? And then the pandemic. And Ellen lost her show. I mean, everything just, again, here we go. Let's shift accordingly. So I started a GoFundMe campaign to get a billboard up. I got a billboard up in the South Bay in Redondo Beach, where I live, barely. I barely can make the money. And my mother, who I wasn't close to, and I was becoming close to again, she goes, so how's it going? How's this billboard thing going? I'm like, well, I need $200. She goes, checks in the mail. And I'm like, wow, it was so cool that you know, she's like, I understand she's a social worker in her life, her profession, right? And so the billboard went up, and I designed it. Looks like this. That's the billboard with the words, Arial, bold font, very boring. And the billboard is a cobalt blue, and cobalt's all about transition and empowerment. And sure enough, the cobalt blue to me symbolizes the ocean, the sky. So the billboard, I was driving that morning, and it was a big deal to get this billboard up. I'm sure people were tired of me talking about it. The billboard, I'm going to get a billboard, get a billboard up. And I'm driving in the misty, you know, June gloom weather, and there's this, holy crap, this big billboard with these words staring me down. And I just started bawling, because it's like, my goal was, I want this billboard to say, I see you, I support you, and somebody paid for this. No advertising, no phone number, just the words. They're your words, however you want to fill into them. They're not telling you how to be, but they're saying how you might want to be, or how you can feel, or how we all struggle with that. So,
and maybe just the daily affirmation of, guess what, guys, you are enough.
Right.
You don't have to prove yourself to anyone.
Right. And it might mean, okay, you don't like your makeup today? That's okay. You don't like your job today? That's okay. You don't like your husband today? That's okay. But you're still viable. You're still worthy. And my other, again, the main thing was to help people feel seen. You're not alone around these words, right? We're all, I don't want to say it's not, a lot of people kind of don't know how to hold this. We're all equal when it comes to feeling enough. But I can't be in your shoes. You can't be in my shoes. So the billboard, it came at such a timely time. It was like lockdown time, summer. KTLA covered it every day. It was the 4th of July weekend, actually. And people go, we got to get more up. We got to get more up. So I thought, okay, you're right. And then people said, you have to get merchandise, yard signs would be great. It was a time where we just needed not to feel alone. When we're hiding under our masks, and depression finally was recognized as something in our country has an issue with. It's the #1 disability in the country.
I believe it. Yeah. And during the COVID period, I mean, it was hard on a lot of people because the isolation and, some people I'm an introvert. It was the best thing for me. I'm like, yeah, I don't have to talk to people. This is awesome. I can stay home. But I know people that are huge, super extroverts, and they get their energy from interacting with people.
Right.
And they got shut off from the world, and all of a sudden they struggled. I mean, I won't go into detail, but I know a lot of people that heavily struggled with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of both, and I was in my condo by myself, and it's 3 levels, 4 beds, 4 baths. You can hear the echo. And I had a hard time. And I looked forward to my weekly Zoom session with my therapist. And I need to connect physically, right? And that kind of worked, but yeah. And we had to sit still with self. We had to sit still with self well, alcohol abuse went up, and
oh yes,
all kinds of abuses went up. Domestic abuse went up. But we didn't know how to sit still with self. And that's one thing the billboards are doing. I say billboards now because now and I say we because it's not me. People donate to these boards. 1,500 billboards now across the nation.
1,500. Oh wow.
Yeah. So the reason it's so high. So I've probably launched. Meaning what I've really pushed hard for. I think 25 now here in Los Angeles. But Lamar Advertising, I've gone to them for the last 3 years. For the month of May, they take my artwork, and this is their national PSA campaign. They take their artwork, they send it to all their distributors and go use it if you want. And so sure enough, their digital boards all over the country just popping up.
Oh, and that's brilliant.
That's why they're so high. And it's simple. It's so simple to do. Can you imagine if every outdoor advertising company did that? Again, this campaign is not me. It's we. Yeah. So I'm not really gaining anything from go to my website. It's like I'm working on the PR part of it. But just you were with me this past weekend at West Hollywood Pride, and the billboard was on the air all weekend. KTLA kept showing it because it's of course, people celebrating Pride, we are enough,
I'm glad you brought up the Pride celebration, because when you and I went out, so, just so people know, Pride was in West Hollywood this past weekend. We went out and handed out these little rubber bracelets that say "You are enough," and we went up to individuals, and people were like, "Oh yeah, sure," kind of like, "Get away from me, lady." But then they read it. Well, some people were just like, "Okay, sure, give me the." And then the second they read it, their face lit up. They kind of softened a little bit, and let a little bit of vulnerability through to be like, it's all of a sudden they were seen. It's like it's that little affirmation. You're okay. You are enough.
I see you, and I see you, right? Like you said, they thought, "Oh, how did you know? How did you know I don't feel enough? And how do you know?" Yeah,
everyone feels that way. I have not met a single solitary person that's like, other than when they boast saying they're awesome and they're great, that's not how they really feel. Everyone's got insecurities. Everyone's got issues. Everyone has problems that you will never know about. That's why I'm always telling people, be kind, because you have no idea what's happened in someone's personal life. And some people are very good at hiding it. I had a recent conversation with a girlfriend, and she does seem like she has it all. Fabulous attorney, fabulous lifestyle. She's gorgeous. She's designer clothes. And she let slip out some of her personal life. And I was like, oh my Lord. She's dealing with family stuff that you would not wish on your worst enemy.
Yeah.
And it's like, we all have to remember that. There's always something going on that you don't see. And just be kind to each other. That's it.
Yeah. It's I mean, when you really think about it, of course we all have stuff going on, right? Every day we have stuff going on. And I always say like we're born and people goo goo gaga over us and we're so beautiful. What the heck happens to us? Right? What the heck happens? And no one's goo goo gagaing over me now, darn it. But so yeah, the wristband here, I'll move, I'll get one for you. It's right here. Sorry, everybody. Sure. Sorry, everybody. But it's I do want to get a sustainable one. Can you see it?
Yep, there it is. You are in it. Perfect.
It's super simple, and it's the classic version size-wise. It's a thin one, and people like that too. I'm still amazed at how it's the buff guys who love these things.
Oh yes,
and
they're like, oh, it's not going to fit my giant. It's like, it'll fit.
You're watching that, right? It's funny, but so I'm a premature incubator twin. And I started my life in a glass box, not being touched or basically seen. And this is 1963, when they were, the medical community's like, don't touch the babies, the rubber gloves came in through 2 holes. And I know I'm doing this, and I know I went into PR because I want to help people feel seen. It sounds really woo-woo, but after years of therapy and studying and doing studies at USC and UCLA on being an incubator twin, can you imagine, like, you're all, the minute you're born, they pretty much, you're taken away from your mom and the twin. Those heartbeats are gone, the DNA, everything. My little being, that heartbeat, they're gone, right? So I know that's probably why I went into all this stuff. And so the public relations part, I think when I burnt out, it's a very enabling career, right? You're enabling so many people. You're helping them feel seen, but what about yourself, right? And yeah, it's your job. And just like this year enough, like yesterday, I handed out the last of the swag bag. I had a 5K on Cinco de Mayo in Hermosa Beach. And it's just a love fest. People just out there with their t-shirts and high-fiving each other, hugging each other, total strangers. And I sold out, and then so people couldn't pick up. Some people to get shirts and swag bags. So yesterday I had my handout session, and total strangers walking in the door and big smiles and go, "Can we have another one this summer? Can we have another 5K this summer?" It was so fun. It was so amazing, and it was. Granted, I had a great DJ, and the Hermosa Beach Strand and Manhattan Beach Strand is beautiful, but
beautiful.
Together to say, I've got you. I'm in the same boat. So we're going to go full circle with your last statement there. Sorry about that.
No, full circle is totally fine with me. That's how I like it. No, I mean, I love the fact that it's the simplicity of the You Are Enough campaign, because that's it. That's the messaging. There's no website that you're taking people to. There's no, 1-800 anything, or donating is actually welcomed, because the more that Cathy gets, the more billboards she can put up and the more people she can help. So we will accept those donations. But
did we say it's Giving Purpose Organization? Did we say that? How that's
Giving Purpose. Giving Purpose.
The Giving Purpose Organization is the nonprofit, because You're Enough is taken all over the place. And Giving Purpose Organization, the statement is to help, basically, I'm creating societal healing campaigns to help people feel worthy. Bam. That's it. So You're Enough is the flagship campaign. So
it is the simplicity of that messaging to let people know, because as you brought up not even during like COVID, we kind of came to terms with the depression in this country.
Yeah.
But it was always there. It's a real issue. And I don't know anyone who actually has not had a bout of depression, because as you said, we're born and we're coddled and we're cooed over. And then all of a sudden you're judged, and you go to work and you're judged at work, and nothing you do is good enough, and you get browbeaten every day. And maybe you have certain wins, and maybe you get accolades here and there. But overall, it's tough.
Yeah.
And unless, and the best advice I ever got was, you only have to report to you, and no one else cares. You have to look out for you. So you have to know that you are enough, and hold that, because what other people think it doesn't matter.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, and great point. You're great with transitioning here. This campaign is also about being mirrors for one another. So when I wear a hoodie, and you've got a t-shirt now, you'll see how people go, "Thank you, cool shirt. I needed to hear that today." It's again, I know that comes a lot from my past. I wasn't seen. I wasn't supported. I had a bad childhood where I just wasn't seen, and we all go through that, to your point, daily, seen for being viable, seen for being worthy, as I say, right? So,
and honestly, to add to what you said about that, saying you are enough and having that self-affirmation for yourself, that's when you are capable of helping others.
Correct. And it's healing.
And that's the healing that needs to happen, because we do need to support each other. And I'm always out. I'm in this webcast. I support people. I help people. I really try to help women, because, and people of color, because we kind of have it a little harder, a little bit. So I try to give that extra push.
Definitely. And that's why I said earlier, like, I felt couldn't say we're all equal when it comes to feeling enough, because we're not all equal. We just all face it, and that's true. Right. Whatever. We won't go into the news today of, people of color. It's crazy how backwards we're going. But I think what I'm really, really, really striving for is to help bring people together to mirror one another and be support systems for one another in a very simple way. So you think of Life is Good, that merchandise brand years ago, Life is Good.
Yeah.
Or what's another one? Like Nike, just do it. Or, you know, they're all outwardly. And this is outward. This is not like I am enough. You know, people will send me things like, oh, look at, they're doing the same thing as you. I'm like, no, 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 no. Ours is outward. Ours is sharing it forward. Oh, gotcha. You know, and there's not many share it forward campaigns. When you really think about it.
That is true.
There's,
you are right on that.
You can compare mine to Pass It On, which has been around 20 years. The billboard camp, they start with billboards, right? They're the billboards that say pass it on, and then, but they have these amazing figureheads as people to strive to be like Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa. And I'm like, no, 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 we're not that either. Ours is like, we don't have to be a Mother Teresa or a Nelson Mandela to pass it on. You know, we could be Wendy and Cathy doing our things to pass it on, which we're doing today. We are passing it on right now.
Yeah. And so if people, I mean, as you said, with passing it on, if people want to join your movement and get involved with you, what is the best way for them to find you?
I think as far as Googling, it's not hard. You can just Google You Are Enough billboard, You're Enough campaign, or my name, and the website is givingpurpose.org. But if you try those three, you know, people don't remember websites. So You're Enough, and you look for the blue billboard, it will take you to my website, to the social media links. So, and again, people go, why aren't you making it easier? I'm like, that again, if I were to put givingpurpose.org on the website, the billboard, you still have to, go to your phone or go to your laptop and find it. Yeah. So I had a woman reach out to me. I think I was telling you about my Spanish billboard. I got the first Spanish billboard up. And a woman sent a note, and it's just like, basically, Miss Cathy, I want to thank you for the billboard. I've been very sad, very broken English, this message, but very sad for many years, very sad face. I want it in my life, and I see your billboard, and I saw it as a sign from God. I will not end my life. I will help others feel better. And she found me. She found me, right? Yeah. And she found me.
Well, you've said most people that you've either given a T-shirt to or a bracelet to, or even discussed the campaign with, would actually become quite emotional because it would hit them. That it's okay to say, I am enough. It's okay.
And it's really, really going to say, I am. You know, it's so strong. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay to feel that way. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You're not being full of yourself. You are actually protecting yourself.
Right.
You're letting yourself know that you are enough. It's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. And it's okay not to feel okay, as we know, right? With all the mental health stuff. And so I'm really happy when I saw that billboard in WeHo. You heard me talking like, I'm so happy I got this up. You know, I was like, wow, I'm so happy because I was able to really watch a lot of people relate to it, versus when I launch a billboard, I don't, unless I'm sitting at the billboard all day long, I don't know. Even then, I can't see what people are thinking in their cars, or, you know. Exactly. So it was really neat to be a part of something.
Well, when people would just stop and look up and be like, oh, hey.
Yeah. I know we said there's a billboard across the street, right? But it was nice to finally be a part of that. So
yeah. No, you're doing good work. You are. You're doing very important work that people need to know about. And I love the fact that KTLA featured you all this weekend.
They were so great, and they're right across the way, so it was perfect.
Yeah, because it's right. If people want to go check out the billboard, if you go to West Hollywood, above the nightclub Revolver,
it's right above that. Larrabee and Santa Monica. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's a very large one. It's got the Rainbow Pride flag behind it, so it's not the blue and white. But you really can't miss it.
But it doesn't like it.
That's weird. It's hard with the phone. It's coming off blurry because it's focusing on you. But no, it's all right.
That makes sense. But yeah, it's and the Pride billboard was the first one I broke away from the cobalt blue and white, and I might do like a pink one for cancer awareness.
I was gonna say you can do a pink one for cancer.
Yeah, I think I will. And I'll just I've got to figure out a business plan, Wendy. Like, you know, how can I put billboards up every month, you know, and because they're expensive, and it's hard to raise funds for billboards. It's extremely hard. But when people see them, they go, keep putting them up. Like, okay, let's figure out a way.
I like the digital billboard idea, because then that, you know, they can just cycle it. Yeah. And maybe that would be their donation. They just go for 10 seconds at a time or a minute at a time, whatever they do.
Correct. And Lamar sent me a report, and I think it would have been about $350,000 if they got, if they didn't do this for free for me. So bless their hearts. Lamar's great.
Lamar sounds wonderful. And I love the fact that they're doing this and they offered it, because that's a wonderful thing for them to do.
It's just reaching out, right? Just reaching out and saying, hey, can you help me? And connect a Federal Credit Union. They've been my first corporate sponsor. They've been fantastic. So some people, whoever gets it, they get it, right?
I think everybody gets it. I think one glance at the sign and the billboards, people get it. It's a very powerful message that is necessary.
Right. And and I mean, by getting it too, they understand like how they're helping like their employees if they have like UNF program, or the sponsors of the 5K, Skechers, Raising Cane's, Connecta, Murad. They get the reasoning behind sponsoring something like this. It's a no-brainer. The 5K, it was a no-brainer. Of course,
That's
something positive. Yeah. So
and you're going to be doing more of them. You're in the works of planning out more of these 5Ks. And I might have to, I'm not a runner, but I would do it for you.
Well, you could walk. I tell people you could walk, you could skip, you could crawl, you can jump in someone's stroller, you could skateboard, you could bike, walk your dog.
Anything goes.
Yeah. So
no, I love it. So Cathy, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the You Are Enough campaign. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing.
Thank you for, having me today. Appreciate it. Okay.
Anytime.
All right.
So guys, please check out Cathy's You Are Enough campaign. You can look up You Are Enough, the billboard, find her, donate, do whatever you can, join the 5Ks. Just know that you are enough. It's that simple.
We see you. Got your back.
We got your back. I'm Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, Wendy.